We are in the middle of an immigration crisis as tens of thousands of undocumented children are expected to enter the U.S. this year.
This is creating a national outcry. We told you about this at the beginning of the newscast. Republicans and Democrats have urgently pressed President Obama to do something, and fast. Joining us now is an expert on U.S. immigration politics and a UW assistant professor, Karma Chavez. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Why do you think we're hearing about this now? Is there a sudden influx, or what's going on?
Yes and no on the influx question. I mean, we've been seeing an increase in unaccompanied minors since about 2008, 2009. Okay. And part of that has to do with unrest in Central America. So the Republicans are talking a lot about how this is Obama's deferred action plan, which gives some undocumented kids access to working papers, basically. The evidence just really isn't there for that. This has been happening increasingly. I think it was in 2008 or 9, we had about 19,000 unaccompanied youth, and now so far we've had close to 60. And a lot of this has to do with unrest in their countries of origin, lies being told by the people who are guiding them across, and really, desperate situations.
Why do you think this is front page headlines now? It's been going on for quite a while.
Well, we've had kids in prisons, detention centers, I guess is the right thing to call them, since 2004 in this country. Thousands every year. But this, how these pictures got leaked about a month ago, hard to say. But definitely that's what's prompted us to take a closer look at this. Whether it was Obama or not, it's hard to say.
Yeah, we're seeing some of the images now on the screen.
Yeah, they're really devastating.
Can you give us an idea of how these kids are getting here? You said that maybe their parents are already in the States, or...
Yeah, so that's what's interesting. So the kind of Republican Party line on this is that, well, their parents are sending them from Honduras, for example. That's true in part. In part, it's that their parents are already here, often as undocumented immigrants themselves, so they can't sponsor their kids, and their kids maybe haven't seen them in 5, 10 years, and so they're desperate to see their parents. They're also living in violent turmoil in their home countries, and so they'll do whatever they can to get up here.
What do you see as the best outcome in all this?
I'm not sure there is a best outcome. Senator Johnson said today in the hearing that the humane thing to do is to send them all back. I don't think that's humane when these kids fled situations that were so desperate. We need comprehensive immigration reform that is focused on immigration as a human rights issue if we actually want to help people. But there's a lot of economic issues that are very complex that factor in here as well.
I've heard this called a humanitarian crisis, not an immigration crisis.
Yeah, well, I think the most persuasive thing to me has been a refugee crisis. So there's a number of refugee organizations that have said these aren't, undocumented economic migrants, but actually these are political refugees or refugees generally fleeing violence in their home countries, and so they should be treated as such. I think there's a lot of debate about that.
Sure.
Well, cross your fingers and hope for the best outcome.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
All right. Well, thanks for the insight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for being with us today.
For sure.